Good evening. We are back having a week off. We're so sorry about last week. It was to do with technical problems, but we are back on your screens this week. Join us for an hour of fun. Joining me on the panel, Nicholas James, is Liza Humphrey.
Hi.
Vicky Pearson. Oh, are you there, Vicky? Yes, Vicky Pearson and Claire Browning there. As we talk about this week on Loose Links, we have a discussion about the royal family as they are impressed this week. But actually that got us thinking, do we see enough of the royal family now because our queen is no longer with us and it's now king? Do we need to turn our ways about the royal family and do they need to change a little bit to suit us? Also, we discuss Adele. One of my favourite singers has been impressed this week as she fears that she has to close some of her shows because her crew and cast are going down like flies. Her words, not mine. But that got us talking about fear. Do we do the fear and do it anyway? Do we face it? Do we embrace it? Or do we run away from it? And we finish on the subject of Colleen Nolan and loose women themselves as she fights back as viewers state that it's a toxic workplace. But Colleen Nolan fights back and says it's just jealousy because they're not on the show. Find out how we deal with jealousy and do we embrace it. All that and a lot more on this week's Loose. Guys, I did that for the first time with you three without going, stop! Can we start again? Good evening, how are we all? Claire Browning, mate, a big shout out to you because you have come on literally 15 minutes before we started because Sanjay Hitwell is not very well. We send a lot of loose love out to Sam and we hope she feels better very, very soon. Liza, how are you feeling for your second show?
I'm excited.
Are you excited? Do you feel a bit more confident than last time?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Ready to embrace it. Vicky Pearson, it's nice to see you on our screens again. How are you and what you've been up to?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm had a big political change this week. As a lot of people know, I've been very green, representing the Green Party for a long time, and I love the Green Party and everything they do. But I've really wanted to do a lot more locally. I love local politics more than national, which is what I've been involved in. So I met with West Lindsey District Council leaders and Liberal Democrats yesterday, and officially joined the Liberal Democrats and going ahead and supporting the local team there to do amazing things locally. So I'm really excited.
Oh, congratulations, Vicky. Congrats. So we've got lots to talk about, ladies. So let's crack on. We've got lots of topics to talk about this evening. We start off with Queen Camilla as she is celebrating the 2000 episode of BBC Radio's Fall drama by raising the glass to the joys, tears and laughter it gives. Camilla said she was sad to miss the reception for the show. She sent a message to be read out at the event in Birmingham where the show was recorded by Helen Archer. So she's basically been in news because of an event this week, but that did get me thinking, ladies, about the royal family. When it comes to royal, do you think the Queen did get it right by not putting the family out there? Or do you think it's now time that the royal family start coming out a bit more and we know a bit more about their inside lives? Or are you the Queen's traditional way of actually, she never said a word, she was behind closed doors, she never spoke politically or said anything out loud? Do you think we need to see a bit more from our king, and do you think we're going to see it?
Well, I'll start. Well, like you say, you're either a royalist or you're not. And like the Queen, God bless her, she started at a very young age, so of course she knew eventually she was going to become queen. So now the king, he's a lot older, and traditions from way back when, the queen first started, it is totally different. And like you say, times have changed. So, but I did like the way that the queen was, the way that she didn't say a word.
Do
Because
you
once
think
you
we're going to
start,
get that from Charles, though, Claire? Do you think we
well,
are?
I think he will. I think he will say things. Like I say, I'm not really political. Probably Vicky can have a lot to say about this because she's brilliant at things like this. But I've no idea. So
Look at you.
I'll pass it on to Vicky. What do you think?
Vicky, let's go over to you. Do you think the Queen got it right, or do you think we need to see the royal family a bit more?
I think the Queen was incredibly smart, and she knew that the less they're visible, the less the controversy is in the news and the media, and people are reflecting on that. And she knew that the royal family is in a really delicate situation because there aren't many royal families left. And there is a rising in that anti kind of royalist movement. I do think Charles will say more because I think that's who he is, and I think he's been dying to do that. I do think they'll probably end up being more in the media, and I don't think it's going to go that well. I think there will be a real change, and I do feel a real change in overall in the country against mass wealth at the moment with the way everybody's struggling, and the way the economy is. And I think it's going to be a really difficult ride for them going forward, whichever way they do it. But I think we can probably predict which way it's going to go.
And that's the end of the show. Thanks for watching. You've been, you've been amazing. Thank you ever so much. But that did get me thinking about actually the privacy of the Queen and stuff like that. And when I was a kid, I was quite outspoken. So if there was something, what I mean by outspoken is I was a very shy child. But if I'm a person, I'm more of an I'm not an introvert when it comes to feelings and emotions. I'm more of an outro. What's the opposite to introvert?
Extrovert.
Extrovert. I'm more of a talker. I'm more of a I need to get this off my chest or it's going to play on my mind. But the thing that my family always used against me was you shouldn't take things out of the family house. You shouldn't be speaking to other people. It should be very kept within four walls. Not the whole world needs to know about that. Do you agree with that, Liza? Or do you think that we do need those extra people outside the family home as well as inside?
No, I agree. I think, yeah, there's certain things that don't need to be broadcast out to everyone, do they? Really? I don't think it does any good broadcasting it out everywhere else, does it really? There's certain things that, yeah, that definitely need to be kept private. The whole world doesn't need to know everybody's ins and outs. I mean, it hasn't done the royal family good, a lot of things that have come out about personal things, has it really? I think that's what's made a lot of.
Can I slightly disagree with you?
Yeah, go on.
Only because I just think I know I'm going extreme here. I know I'm going extreme, but when it comes to abuse, domestic abuse, things behind closed doors, I think we need to get rid of this. Stay quiet. Stay quiet. Don't say anything. Because I think because the thing is, at a wedding, so I've been to many weddings because I was in a choir at a church. At a wedding, they always say to the whole congregation, will all of you be prepared to support this couple through their marriage and through and everybody has to say, with the help of God, I will. But actually, so we're saying that at a religious ceremony with all our family and friends round, but actually, everything has to stay behind closed doors.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like if I've had a disagreement with somebody, sometimes you've got to blur it out. You've got to get it off your chest to a friend or to a family member
Oh
or whatever.
yeah, I think yeah, I agree to a friend. Yeah, yeah.
Just not the whole world.
Yeah, some people they'll broadcast their whole argument on Facebook, won't they, for the whole world?
No,
to
I
see?
don't agree with
Do you know what
that.
I mean?
No, I don't agree with that. Vicky, you do that a lot, don't you? You take especially
on Facebook with arguments. I don't.
I do not. Claire, do you agree? Do you think actually it should stay within the family home? Because actually, I don't know. Actually, do you have children either?
Yeah.
Yes. So as all of you at one point have been single parents. Do you think as a single parent you've wanted to keep things more behind closed doors when it comes to disciplining your children, or have you ever felt like that mother bear thing where you've had to almost like protect your children and you feel like you've had to do it? Claire, let's go to you first. Actually, that'd be really interesting to hear your view on that.
I personally think that not necessarily as a single parent, but any mother wants to protect their children. But again, as you are, when you become single, you've got to double that. You know, you are both parents majority of the time, even if your children do see the other half. And personally, I was very quiet about it. I've never really spoken to the children. I mean, of course, they're older now and they do know why we split up, but I don't need to air that to them. Or they needed to know that they was in a loving relationship and I was always there for them, as their dad was. You know, I don't think people needed to know. Of course, people did know because, you know, at times it's tough. And it wasn't like Chinese whispers. It was literally, you know, my children were very young when we split up, so it was difficult, and I was very protected of them. I didn't work. A mummy bear. God, I feel like a gorilla at the minute. I'm a mother bear. So yeah, I just think, you know, majority of parents, being single or not, will always protect their children. Not all, of course. Some of them, I've had a few friends, you know, who slate their other half in front of their children.
Oh,
and it's not good. It's not good.
Do you think it's important for? See, I can't answer this because I'm not a parent. But do you think it's important for children to see disagreement and making up and challenges and stuff like that? Because it seems like even on a show, I'm not going to name the celebrity, but even on a show that's been interviewed this week about a celebrity, she was asked about her children and how she deals with arguing with her other half, and does she argue with her other half in front of the children or does she not? And what she stated is that she goes into her garage when she needs an argument with her other half to protect the children. But I almost think, are we cuddling our children too much? Actually, do they need to see that? Do they need to see healthy debate and fallout and challenge and all of that? Because if we don't show them that at a young age, I feel they struggle with it as they get older because they've never seen
They
Healthy. Sorry, Liza, you go.
Oh, thank you. I would say it depends what age. Obviously, if they're toddlers, they don't need to see parents arguing, because it depends really on the parents how they argue, I suppose, doesn't it? Because it could be a bit quite scary for them, I suppose, if you've got a shouty parent, you know. I think, yeah, it can, as they're teenagers, it's not going to do them any harm to see parents squabbling if they are. It depends how they argue. It depends on what kind of parents you've got. If you've got parents that can argue, that will argue in a productive way with each other. Do you know what I mean? Or if you've just got ones that are just at each other, then that's not healthy to them, is it? But if you've got ones that they'll learn from, that they see, well, they're arguing, but they're actually, it's a bicker and then they make up and it's sorted out, then they learn from that. I've seen my parents argue when I was younger and it was fine. But then I've also had in my marriage, when my daughter was younger, somebody who I wouldn't have wanted my daughter to see me arguing with, because it would have been the wrong thing for her to see. So she was protected from that, So it depends how.
That's really personal. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's just go briefly back to the royal family, and we'll finish on this question. But do you think we are a nation that deals with change well? Do you think we're a lot better at dealing with change than we were 10 years ago? Claire?
Well, a lot's happened. A lot's happened, hasn't it? I mean, we always come back to this, no matter what. It's all down to lockdown, and things have changed the world. So of course, that's why we're in the situation that we are. I mean, prices have gone up and everything, and people are struggling, and things do change. And I can't say for the better or for the worse. Me personally, I've just learned that I like my own company and I'm going to stay in. I can save loads of money. Okay, I can't find my knight in shining armour that I've been looking for 50 odd years, but hey ho, one day. Yeah, personally, I think it has changed now for the better. Some people might say, but a lot of people are struggling. So a lot of people would say, no, it's not for the better.
Go on, Vicky. Was you going to say something?
Just British people don't like change. British people have to be forced to change. Things have to get so bad in this country that people have to do something about it before change happens. And it does happen, but that's just the way we are. We seem to just like knuckle down and crack on as a nation generally and have a moan. We love a moan, but we just get on.
I love a moan.
And I think, but we do. I mean, we can define British people by loving a moan. I think it's therapeutic for us, I don't think people like change. I think we have to be forced to change. The condition has to be that this is what's happening now. And I think there's a lot of traditionalism in this country and people harking back to the 60s and 70s, but with very rose-tinted glasses, like ignoring the poverty in the 70s. Let's ignore the things we don't want to look at, but let's look at the things that were good. And it doesn't really work like that. I think we are heading in a good direction, but I think we're dragging some people in that way. Generally, when it comes to things like human rights, politics, we're not really heading in a good direction, are we? I think the economy isn't really heading in a good direction. So
I don't know. Well, we'll leave the politics to you, Vicky. But as always, we've done a poll on it. Do you feel that we need to see more of the royal family than we do? 80% of you have said no. No, we don't need to see more of the royal family than we do. And 20% of you have said yes. Vicky, get prepared. I think this is one of your topics. We talk about Rishi Sunak this week as he talks about dangerous dogs, ladies and gentlemen, dangerous dogs. So we're now going to have a discussion about this. So Sunak's plan is to ban American XL bully dogs, have thrown up plenty of questions, not least here in the newsroom. Following a spate of dog attacks, there's a lot of debate about what's the best thing to do. Such dogs will be worried about in the future of their pets too. We are assembling experts now to answer your questions, so do send them to us. That's a news round. There's been a man arrested in a part of the country I'm not going to say, a 30-year-old man who was arrested yesterday following a fatal attack by 2 dogs on a man, has been further arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. Do you think this is right? Do you think animals should be taken away if dangerous acts have happened? This is about a bit of a controversial one, panel. See what you think to this. Let's see what you think.
No.
No?
No. I just think I feel sorry for all those people with those XL bullies out there that are well trained, well behaved, looked after with the owners that look after them, you know, that walk them properly, you know, that have them on leads, have them, you know, that look after them as a large dog breed. It's the people that are using them for the wrong reason, that are training them for the wrong reason. That's why they're attacking. I mean, I can remember many years ago it was staffies because the wrong people had staffies, so staffies were given a bad name. You know, I had an Akita from rescue and she was in Akita for 7 years because the people in rescue were told that Akitas were dangerous dogs. And we had her from rescue, got her from rescue. I mean, we only didn't have her long, bless her, because she died of, you know, and she was classified. And it's the owners. Yes, they're big dogs, right? But, you know, there are responsible owners out there that keep them on leads when they're meant to be kept on leads. You know, it's wrong to take these dogs from the responsible owners. Sort out the people that aren't responsible. You know.
Do you agree, Vicky?
Yeah, completely. And I saw a really sad video today of a dog being taken off a man in Lincoln on the high street by the police, was confiscated, and the man was absolutely heartbroken. And the thought of losing my dogs in that situation is horrific. You know, I think we do have a problem not just with that breed. I think we do have a problem with people mistreating animals in various ways for various reasons, and maybe we do need to look at some kind of licensing or ownership paperwork for dogs that shows that if there's certain breeds that you agree to train in, you agree to muzzles in certain busy places, you know, and that they're trained to do that, just in case, you know. But I don't think taking dogs away from people or banning dogs, I think, is a really extreme reaction. And I don't think it's going to be very popular at all because we love our dogs, don't we, in this country?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, I don't think it's a very smart move at all. No, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction that, you know, we'll just do that then, and it's not going to solve the problem because, like you said, what dog will it be next?
Mm-hmm.
You
Do
know,
you think though?
it's
Do you think we do? I'm trying to sit on the fence a bit. Do you think when it comes to a dangerous dog, so when you see there's RSPCA now, and there's so many people out there that save animals nowadays, and but when it comes to, say, like you've got a neighbour and that dog is nasty, and you tell your children never to go near it, or a neighbour or whatever, do you think we need to be looking more at the owners when it is classed, or we class it as a dangerous dog? It's not. I'm not saying to anybody out there, it's our responsibility to then face that owner and to say to them, actually, you're not treating them right. But there's RSPCA and stuff like that. But when it comes to if an animal has been taken off somebody, do you think we need to go as extreme as making a list of people that cannot own a pet, that has mistreated it and guided it and attacked it and abused it? Do you think we need some sort of something needs to change? Do you agree with that?
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Go on.
Well, I mean, majority of owners of dogs treat them like their child. And if it was a child being treated the way that they treat their animals, then something would be done about it. So why not to these poor animals who haven't got a voice? You know, it's always down to the owners. And I think a animal that is like these dogs, then dangerous dogs as they call them, I think, yeah, they should have a license. They should have checks, maybe. I don't know, but something needs to be done, because you can't take dogs off people just because they're dangerous. There's a lot of dangerous human beings out there, but you know, they don't get taken away because they're not doing what they should do. So how they're going to do this, I don't know, but like Vicky, seeing that I would have been absolutely heartbroken. I personally don't have dogs. I did when I was growing up, but with busy and that. And like Harry, because he is in his wheelchair, he's the height of a dog, and he was very scared growing up, because, you know, if we went out with my daughter to the park, the dogs just want to bound up to you. Do you know what I mean? And it was very, very scary. But it's the ownership of the owner, is that right? To make sure that, you know, if their dog is bouncy, or it could be not dangerous, but, you know, keep it on a lead, give it a muzzle, and, you know, have responsibility for that animal like you would do your child, you know.
Do you know, I completely agree there as well, Claire, because my mum had 2 dogs. And the last one, unfortunately, Diesel, who was with us all of our childhood, was unfortunately had to be put to sleep, because at the end of his life he had no legs anymore, he went blind, he went deaf. We were basically carrying him around for a walk. But as he got near the end of his life, he was never a dangerous dog or a horrible dog. But because he was blind and because he couldn't hear, if somebody suddenly walked past, he would snap, or he would walk. And because of that, we was very aware of that. So if people came into the house, a muzzle was put on, but even because we didn't want him to harm anybody or him to get into any sort of trouble. And when you talk about human beings like this, and I know this is very, very extreme, and I know, but we talk about dangerous human beings. If you do something with an underage child, you are put on a list. You are put on a list to never work with children again. Why can't we do that for animals?
Yeah,
why can't we put a name on a list to say that you cannot own a pet again? Because we're never going to solve this problem. As Vicky said, they're just going to go after breed after breed. And actually, I feel like we're putting the responsibility onto the dogs, not the responsibility onto human beings that are looking after these dogs. But we're saying they're a dangerous dog, we need to get rid. Well, hold on a minute. Who's looking after these dogs? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Yeah, dogs haven't got a voice. You know, the dogs do what their owners
dogs
do.
not to do.
Yeah, totally. Well, all animals, you know.
Yeah.
Cats, I mean, cats, when people burn them or you know, put them in microwaves and things, it's like, if you did that to a child, and like I say, a lot of these animals to people are their babies, you know, they're comfort for them, and that. So for that poor man to have his dog taken off him just because he was one of those dogs, no, they should be assessed, you know, or I know you can't assess every dog, but like the dangerous ones and that, and put them on a list.
You should do.
Yeah, totally.
And again, we've done a poll on it. Do you think there should be stricter rules of owners of dangerous dogs? 100% of you has said yes, and we got 10 comments on this, ladies and gents. Honestly, we had 10 comments. So Sean Humphrey put, this one's a hard one to answer because it depends on the dangerous dog. If it's going to breed, then I think you can't really determine a dog is dangerous. That's the way, as dogs, as a dog isn't dangerous due to its breed, it's dangerous due to its owners treating it, teaching it, and handling it. If it's going on dogs' behaviours and actions, then yes. Liza, you commented, but you're on the show, so I'm not giving you that comment. Rachel Penny, one of our panelists, all dogs should be kept on a lead as a legal requirement when in public areas, regardless of regardless of their act. My belief is that yes, every dog has the potential to harm, but some large breeds can do more harm due to their size and their strength. I have had dogs in my life, some easier to manage and live with than others. At the moment, I have an Akita and a terrier. The Akita is loyal to the family, fluffy in strength, where the Akita is 55, measures at 55 and the terrier measures at 9, but the terrier is more mischievous. They both have characteristics and not the easiest of dogs, but their temperaments are totally different. We have to adapt to each breed and be responsible for the captivities, as dogs are part of the family too. Nigel Mullall, mandatory muzzles of all dogs and the use of a lead in public. If dogs found without these strict citations, the dog is seized with a release fee. It attacks and causes harm. A dog cannot bite anyone with a muzzle on. So we had quite a few commenting on this. It was quite a big topic for us to talk about. So thank you for all your comments. Please keep putting them down, because we will try and read as many comments out as we possibly can in the show. We go on to, oh, go on, Claire, what was you going to say?
No, you just made me laugh because you went, the Akita is 55, and I thought, oh gosh, that's a good dog. And then the other little one were 9. I thought, yeah. No,
honestly, I just have to keep reading it because I'm put on the spot. I'm dyslexic as well. I don't know if I've ever said that to anybody. So if I always sound a bit like muzzled, it's because I've got my words mixed up. But we talk about one of my favourite singers that I go to every time I need a cry, every time I need a bit more strength, and that is Adele. She is remarkable how her career has spanned out, but she hits out to news lines this week as a huge change to her Vegas shows. I'm hanging on for dear life. Award-winning singer Adele has made a huge change to her Las Vegas shows after she's admitted to hanging on for dear life. To keep them going after cancelling her original dates, Adele has made huge changes to her Las Vegas residency shows after she is... That's just repeated, isn't it? The award-winning singer has become more worried when her friends and crew started dropping like flies. So she has dedicated to ditch some of her shows, facing her fears of catching coronavirus, because it's back up and running again, people. Adele is getting up close and personal with the crowd during the show. She's put a stop to that. She's not kissing or shaking hands with anybody. But putting Adele aside a little bit, it got me thinking about fear and being scared and fear. Do you believe in the saying, face the fear and do it anyway?
Yes, 100%.
Go on, Vicky. Tell us why. Why do you believe that's an important saying?
Because growth is facing your fear, isn't it? It's you know, but I mean, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I have to let people know.
No.
So if something scares me, I think, oh, I'm going to do that. Which is the opposite of most people. But it means I've done some really crazy things in my life that have make interesting stories, I guess. And I don't really regret a lot of it. There's things obviously I wouldn't do now, but I'm glad I did them at the time. So yeah, and I think I think people should push themselves out of their comfort zones a little bit and, you know, live life. I mean, I think that's a big part of me. I mean, my first boyfriend when I was a lot younger had muscular dystrophy, and he died aged 21. And I grew up with him and his life, and he wasn't supposed to live past 12, 13, so he had an incredible life. And for me, growing up with him and seeing that really gave me that responsibility that I have to live my life for the people that couldn't. And then falling ill again over the last 10 years, it's kind of reinforced that for me, that, you know, for the last, you know, at least 6 years, I've been more or less housebound. And now I'm getting a little bit out again. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go crazy because, you know, I'm desperate to do so much. But it gives you this real, you know, understanding that life can be taken away at any point, and anyone can be made disabled, anyone can lose out at any point. And I kind of think a lot about regrets at the end of the life, and if there's anything I think, will I regret it, then I'll do it, and then it's not a regret anymore. And that's kind of how I live my life, and you know, and I'm quite happy with it, to be honest.
Have you, Vicky, it'd be really interesting to know, have you, I don't suppose you follow Sophie Morgan at all, do you? The celebrity in the wheelchair. Sophie Morgan has, I watched an interview on her this week, and I'm pleased you brought it up, because she lived a very normal life. She passed her A-levels, and she was driving her and 3 friends in a car to a party, and no fault of her own, the car completely went out of control and rolled over, and 3 of her friends got out of it, not a scratch on them, but she broke her back, and she ended up from the age of 21 in a wheelchair bound. And 20 years on, so that I was watching an interview with her this week, 20 years on the anniversary of when she had this car crash, she's gone to America on her own after the fight about wheelchairs on a plane and how they don't adapt it and stuff like that. She was showing that she skydived in her wheelchair with somebody on the back of her. It was just absolutely incredible how she said, and that'd be really interesting to ask you actually, she said that she was always quite a daredevil when she was younger. She was always quite an adrenaline junkie, but after the disability, it made her even more adrenaline junkie. Like, she wanted to do, she felt like she feared nothing after what she had gone through. Do you feel like after your disability, Vicky, that your adrenaline got even bigger than it was before your disability?
Well, I mean, I've been very ill and I've had an injury, and the two things meant neither could be treated. And I finally made headway with the illness, which means hopefully I can look to tackle my actual injury, which is now 10 years old, and a lot of problems alongside having something that hasn't been treated in 10 years. So, I mean, I'm in a difficult situation where in my head, I want to do lots of really crazy things. And then I think, you know, if I move my head too suddenly, I get ice pick headaches. So I have to be a little bit careful still, but, you know, doing little things is fine. I suppose like the politics and stuff for me is my version of the adrenaline in a way. I mean, before my accident, I was a roller girl and I competed around Europe, around the UK. And you know, I was pretty good, and I loved it, and I absolutely loved it. And I mean, we met with Guy Martin a few times. He used to come and do events with us, and he towed us around on motorbikes, and we went round, we were modelled in for his magazines, and you know, we went to a dirt track, one of his dirt race things he'd got going on, and they towed us around with a giant pie. Really bizarre, the stuff that we got to experience doing that. But you know, it was amazing. And obviously, like horses, I've always been into horses, and horses is a big adrenaline thing. And I mean, my dream would be to get back on a horse and gallop again. I mean, getting back on a horse, I'm hoping I can achieve. But if I could ever go with galloping again, like that would be like a massive dream. But I would look to take GoPros with me so I can record it for the people who are still ill and disabled. And
that would be amazing. That would be incredible.
As a like, come ride with me, you know.
We'll definitely share that on Loose. We would definitely share that. And I need to put you in contact with Leah Greenwood, Vicky, actually, another panellist. She is a roller derby expert. She's on Teams. She follows it like there's no tomorrow. And I keep thinking every time I have Leah on, I must get Leah and Vicky together because I think you'll get on like a house on fire. So Claire, just to let you know, after watching Sophie Morgan's Trip Out of an Aeroplane, I've booked you in for next week, next Saturday.
You know what? If you're paying, I'll do it. Because that's the lot of it. I mean, I know like you have to get fundraising and that. I mean, I'm saying, yeah, do it. I would be absolutely pooping. But like you say, if you don't give it a go, you know, like say my adrenaline might just be, you know, out of this world. But I think for me, I need to be pushed, you know, to do something as crazy as that. I'll need people to say, go on, do it, you know. Or just say,
I'm pleased, Claire, you said that actually, because Liza, let's go to you. Do you believe it's healthy for all of us to be tried and tested sometimes?
Well, I think so. Yeah, sorry, Liza. Yeah, we all what's the saying that my boss used to say? Something about flowers growing, but if you're in the same place. I really can't remember what it was, but I think you need to be pushed out your comfort zone because otherwise, you know, nothing grows. Oh, I can't think. But yeah, I think you need to be pushed. Because again, you don't know it, like I say to children, you know, how do you know you don't like that vegetable if you've not tried it? You know, so you could do it once and you might not like it. I'm not saying like jumping out an aeroplane or something, but you know, something that you are frightened of, you know, you've got to keep doing it. You know, try a little bit of that broccoli, try a little bit, you know, now and who knows, you know, you might not like it, but you've tried it. And I think that's
even the smaller things, isn't it? It's not like Sophie Morgan's extreme. So Sophie Morgan is, but I think we fear even like little things in our lives, don't we? That I think that we need to tackle more head on. So what I'm saying is, a change of career, we fear. We're scared of losing, going to another job. Falling in love again, we fear. We're scared of because we're scared of getting hurt. Do you think we all just need to do that little bit more of a push to ourselves and achieve something in a day to say we've done that, we faced it? Because because it very much mixes with loneliness, and I wanted to talk about loneliness a little bit because that's one of the fears into that. One of the biggest fears that all of us go through life of is actually, can I take the chance of love again? Because actually I've been so hurt and so damaged. Actually, I've been better off on my own, and actually I'm protecting myself because I'm not hurting myself. But that can lead to loneliness. Do you ever fear, ladies, of being alone?
No.
No, go on, lads. Tell me why. Why don't you fear on being alone?
I actually like being on my own. I think I actually like it. I actually liked that independence, the being able to come and go myself, listening to what I like, watching what I like. I felt actually quite strong on my own, and I actually shocked myself. Because you don't have to be lonely. You can still go and see your friends, you know, and you can have friends come and stay and things like that. But no, I actually enjoyed being on my own, and I was
Do you think we get
surprised.
too stuck in our ways though sometimes? Do you think when we've been on our own for quite a long time, do you think we get sometimes too stuck in our ways? And sometimes when it comes to a new relationship or when it comes to a new friendship, or we're that little bit more guarded because actually we've let our guard down too soon when to the wrong people. That's what I'm trying to say, that we've let our guard down too soon to the wrong people.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah, probably right there.
Go on, Claire.
It all boils down to trust, doesn't it? I mean, I've been on my own for many a year. So it was just a few months before my 40th birthday, and I thought, oh, great, life begins. But I had a 5-month-old and a 4-year-old, and it was hard. But I just got through it. I wasn't lonely. It wasn't until the children were a bit older, and then I did feel it. But I then got a job because they were at an age that I could. And now and again, I will feel lonely. I've got loads of friends, I try and get out when I can. But I think it's just having that special person, that you feel lonely for, because you just want to feel love. You get love from your friends and your family and your children, but you just want that special person, I'm not necessarily that you have to live with me, just take me out, buy me a drink and a meal, and I'll be all right.
To live with me.
Wine and dine me and night.
But Claire, how would you feel if I said to you, so I predict the future, and I said to you, right, you're going to be single to the day you die? How would you feel about that?
If you knew that, and that's what it was going to be, I would have to deal with that. Okay, to start with, I'd probably be mortified. But if that's the case, like I say, it's a long time, I could adapt to that, Like I say, my children are growing up. It's lovely to see them flourish sometimes. And I've got the children, so that's a bit different for people who feel lonely if they haven't had children and they would like them. You'd have to embrace it, and I'd have to do.
There we go, isn't it? Because even so, we've heard over the last, I keep saying 3 years, but COVID is coming up for 4 or 5 years now, isn't it? But for the first time ever on TV, we've heard, well, I've seen it on TV, and it's only just been this week, we've heard a lot of the word crisis over the last couple of years. That word has come up time after time. We're in a COVID crisis. We're in a money crisis. We're in a living crisis. That word crisis has come up. And Age UK, there are many other opportunities out there for people to tackle loneliness, but Age UK have stated that we are in a loneliness crisis at the moment, and that people out there are, a lot of people, quite a high percentage of people, are just hearing from this Age UK representative that only speaks to them in a day. Do you think that we need to be talking about loneliness a bit more? Do you think we need to be doing a little bit more? Do you think we need to be knocking on our neighbours' doors and just checking in to see how they're doing? Do you think, because we're not suffering with it, we might be suffering with it, I don't know if any of you are, but because we're not suffering with it, again, not my story, not my problem.
I think we definitely do need to look at it more, and it's going to be different in towns and villages though, because I'm in a little village, and village communities are very, very different. Everyone knows everyone's business. They know who doesn't want you in their life. You know everything. Your dog can't go out and do a poo at the end of a street without everyone reporting on Facebook. If you want a laugh, honestly, join a village Facebook group and just have it for a laugh, because it's really is third world problems. So, but there is still a lot of loneliness and isolation in villages, because I mean, we have 3 buses a day, and that's not a reliable service. That's it. There's no takeaways delivered here. You cannot get food delivered. The bus, there's no bus to the local children's centre. If you've got children, the children's centre that's designated from Bardney, there is no way to get there. The doctor's surgery, if they close the outreach centre, the main centre, there is no bus to get there, so we cannot access the doctors. So then you put on top of that people who are elderly and really struggle with mobility getting out, then you do have those problems, and they do get missed. And unfortunately, a lot of the cuts come and hit rural areas before they hit cities and towns, they cut us and cut and cut. You know, we had our doctor surgery. We had 9 hours of appointments in December, in the village. That was it. You know, and that's the only doctors we've got. So, and they're building more houses, they're putting more people, you know, here. So it is a really difficult situation. I mean, I've recently actually volunteered for Age UK and done all my clearances so I can help tackle loneliness in my community, because it is something we saw. And I set up the warm welcome for fuel poverty over winter, and had it running twice a week with free food, hot drinks, heating, and it was open, and the people that came to that were not there for fuel poverty, they were there because they were lonely. So, you know, I'd like, and I'm looking at ways to build something in my village where it's a community space, that there's things on that people could do clay, or there's a rescue centre comes in with animals, or people come and do a talk, or various things that tackles loneliness without labelling it mental health support. And we need more things like that across the community, really, that tackle it without making people feel like if I go there, I'm admitting I've got mental health issues or I'm lonely or whatever. It's a way to get out in a roundabout way, because people don't like labels, and men particularly not like admitting they need help. So you cannot tell a man they need help. You have to go about it in a really roundabout way.
Vicky, you warm my heart every time you say stuff like that. There needs to be more people like you around. You warm my heart, because actually you're not just sat at home listening to it, moaning about it, going, we need to do more, the government needs to do more. You're stepping out and doing something about it, which I'm quite ashamed that I don't sometimes. Do you know what? We have these topics on the show, and then when I've done a show and sat there and voiced my opinion that we need to stop living in our own bubbles and stuff like that, I sit there and think, right, Nicholas James, actions speak louder than words. Crack on with it, because you can't sit on screen and say, are we doing enough, and then not do enough. But we did 2 polls on this. So do you ever fear of being alone? 50% of you said no, 50% of you said yes. So it's very, very much in the middle. I would like also... Go on, Vicky, I missed that.
That's the introverts and the extroverts.
Yeah. I want to give this lady a shout out as well, because she will be shocked that I'm going to give her a shout out. But Anthea Lavender, I want to give you a massive shout out for Loose Links, because every time there's a welcome post, every time there's something up, Anthea always likes the post, says welcome to anybody that's joining. So Anthea, thank you for being a Loose Links fan and following us. We appreciate all you do. Thank you. But she did a comment this week. Loneliness is an awful thing. I've just got back from looking after my mum due to her accident, and we were talking about loneliness, and she said half of her issues are, this is going to make me cry. Half of her issues is because she is lonely. It's a worry of mine of being a single mum, that once my eldest has left home, I'm gonna cry, honestly. I have one-to-one talk to. A lot of our elderly are very lonely and are often get left alone with families, busy nowadays, and now not being able to see them as much. I feel very sorry for them, and I think it could be me in a couple of years. Oh, that was hard to read. That was hard to read, but it's true. Also, we did another poll on loneliness. We did, do you think we are doing enough for loneliness? 90% of you have said no, and 10% of you have said yes, we are doing enough. Thank you for your comments again. Please keep them coming in, because we'd love to hear from you. As much as we like to let our gobs off and talk, we like to hear your gob too and see what you have to say. So make sure you speak up as well, because we'd love to hear from you. So we follow on to a topic, ladies, on what Loose Links is built of, and that's the TV programme Loose women. So Colin Nolan hits out at toxic loose women claims, banning people jealous. Colin Nolan has opened up on the relentless trolling of loose women panelists receiving and claims that the show is a toxic atmosphere, which she said is absolute nonsense. Colin Nolan has slammed claims that Loose Women is a toxic environment and believes people are just jealous of the show. Over the years, the ITV lunchtime programme has been slammed with claims it's not a pleasant place to work and that some of the panellists create a negative atmosphere. However, Colin Nolan, who has been on the programme since the 2000s, believes that those who make the claims are simply jealous. So, do you think you can get jealous in someone else's success? Hard one there.
I think
hard one there.
I think people do. I'm not a jealous person. I genuinely love it. Like, I don't cry much at all. I'm not a crier at all. But things like Queer Eye, when people are achieving amazing things, or like MasterChef professionals when they're like achieving stuff, that gets me going completely. I get proper teared up with it. And I love it. I love seeing people genuinely succeed at life, you know. But some people don't, and you know, and I know people who've talked about jealousy and that they struggle with it, and you know, they don't necessarily act on it, but they do really, really struggle with it. And you know, so it is a normal human emotion, I think. And you know, some of us don't really have it, but I think the majority of people do. It's how you deal with it. Do you lash out, or do you take ownership of your own emotions and think, actually, I need to deal with that? And most people don't do that, do they?
It's Long Lost Family for me, Vicky. Every time I watch Long Lost Family, I am in floods of tears. Every single episode is Long Lost Family. Claire, what do you think? Do you think you could get jealous over somebody's success?
I don't get jealous. I mean, I'm not saying I am or not a jealous person. I'm more envious, you know. But they've succeeded in what they've done. So, you know, you've got to go out, you've got to put yourself out there and strive for your dream, rather than, you know, people have got where they've got by doing what they've done, you know, or they're good at it, and you know, they want success, so they go for what they want. Basically, when I was at school, I wanted to be in the army as a chef. So I went to college for 2 years to get my qualifications, and I passed nearly all of my army things that you have to do. Oh, you just went every other week, like, to say, yeah, this is what you want to do, blah, 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 blah. And I never went in due to a bloke, of course. And that is a regret, but then I regret, I wouldn't, it's like sliding doors, isn't it? Yeah. If I'd have done that, I wouldn't be here now, and I wouldn't be talking to you. Well, I could have been, because as I say, I knew one of the panelists, but
you wouldn't even come on screen for an interview.
No, I wouldn't, because I'm very shy, very quiet, and don't have a lot to say. So yeah.
But look how far you've come. I'm jealous. Look how far you've come.
Because all I'm looking at is you three lovely people. So that's all I think. You know, you can see me. So
I'm going to get you on the first audience show, Claire. I really am.
You know, sometimes when I watch it and I look at myself and I think, my voice, I think, oh my God, what horrible voice. And then,
no.
I don't like looking at myself. You know, like when it goes live, recording, I mean.
Oh, anyway. I like it, Claire. I like it. I like your face. Can I tell you I like your face? Can I say that? There. Do you believe if someone ever calls you a friend and even uses the word I love you and then walks away so easy, do you think that is love? Do they know what love is? How, to me, if I decide I love somebody, friend, relationship, whatever, I'm in that for life. And I know situations can change within relationships and they can become toxic, but I've had a couple of relationships, not going to name them, friendship relationships, where people have said to me, I love you, and over stupid little things. I'm not going to reveal which panelist it is, but we had a panelist right at the beginning that I thought was really close to me, really close to me, and it's really hard not to name them but to describe them so you don't know who I'm talking about, but they did a lot of work behind the scenes, and because I disagreed with something that they were planning to do for our social media, she walked away from me. She walked away and never spoke to me again and said, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore. And I accepted that, but I didn't think the friendship would finish. And she told me she loved me. She constantly told me she loved me and she cared for me, but I find it really difficult. And if you can love somebody, how can you walk away like that? Do you know what I mean? Like it means nothing. Do you get that?
We all have an opinion, you know, and if it was like a work thing or you know, something on here, why fall out with somebody who you supposedly love, you know, as a friend, just because you didn't both think the same thing? You know, that's the way of the world. You know, we've all got to have an opinion, because if we was all the same, then it would just be boring, wouldn't it? So yeah, that's not nice if somebody does that, and like you say, to just walk away.
But do you think so never been on the show again. Because I don't want anybody to think that there's a panelist that I'm talking about then. They're not part of the project anymore. So can I just be clear of that as well? That any panelists out there that thinks, oh, that you could be talking about me, I'm not, because they're not part of the project anymore. But do you think that word, I love you, is used too easily and fluently then actually people say to people I love you without really being in love with them or loving them, and it's just a free word answer sometimes?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah, because like you say, I've had people the same way, that, you know, oh, I love you, and like you say, like they're gone for the most silliest reason, you know. You, you know, I had somebody that I thought was a really good friend of mine for, you know, many years, and I can't even remember what we argued over. It was that silly. It wasn't even an argument. It was something really stupid. Never ever heard from her again. She started answering her phone calls. It was really silly. That it was so silly. I can't even remember what it was. But she was one of those people that after every phone call was, I really love you, you know. So,
It's sad,
yeah.
isn't it? It's sad, but I think everybody's different. But ladies, that brings us to the end of this week's show. So I'd like to say to all three of you, I love you, because I do. Thank you very much for being on the show this evening. Joining me, Nicholas James, was Liza Humphrey,
Bye.
Vicky Pearson, and Claire Browning-May. Join us next week, same time, same place, for another hour of gossip. Come and join us, because your opinion is just as important as ours. Thanks very much, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.